If you make a mistake, you gotta pay. The more Terence Crawford keeps talking, the worse it keeps getting. Another one. And I need y'all to tell me if this makes sense. Stay tuned. We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live. Boxingego unpack. Yeah. We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Terence Crawford. I mean, the man keeps doing it again, and not in a good way. What do I mean? What I mean is, the more he talks, the more he tweets, the more he does interviews, the worse it keeps getting. I mean, where do I begin? Terence Crawford, when he was going back and forth with Errol Spence, there's just riddled with so many inconsistencies. It's not funny. Like him saying and tearing down Errol Spence's resume. Errol Spence said, I did the heavier lifting. And you have Terence Crawford, who's legit trying to find a way to somehow make his resume seem better than Errol Spence Jr., and you just can't do it. He responded to Errol Spence saying, I did the heavy lifting, by saying Shawn Porter had already lost to KELL BROOK, and he said to the KELL BROOK, which makes no sense. To the KELL BROOK, like he's a movie title or something. Shawn Porter had already lost to the KELL BROOK and Keith Thurman, which misspelled the word which, both was undefeated. So you didn't nothing. So he, like, I can't even read this. This is so, the way it's written is which, and I really can't read this. It's just like he's in such a rush to clap back at Errol Spence and hate on Errol Spence's resume. He's not even taking the time to make sure it makes sense. This is very difficult for me to get through. Make sure you guys subscribe for the effort. Okay, he said Shawn Porter had already lost to the KELL BROOK and Keith Thurman, which both was undefeated. So you didn't sow nothing that wasn't already done. Shrug. So I'm assuming he's meaning you haven't done anything that wasn't already done. So hating on Errol Spence's resume. Then he says, LOL, now Errol Spence, I know you not, Sir KELL BROOK was coming off a KO loss. I mean, just look at how he's typing this stuff. And he keeps saying that he's this poignant businessman. I know you not, sir. KELL BROOK was coming off a KO loss and a broken face and 2 weight above you and add to fight you in some months. I mean, this is bad, bro. Like, I'm really struggling trying to read this non-coherent, like, English. It's like Ebonics or something. It's like going crazy. It reminds me of the Wayans brother movie when they left Marlon Wayans on Shawn Wayans' door, and he was like, oh, baby, it's a note. Please look after Calvin. We wasn't able to take care of him. Bro, I can't read this. Anyway, let me finish this so I can get to my video. So he's basically insulting the KELL BROOK fight. He said he was 2 weight classes above you and add to fight you in some months after, or he would lose his belt, and he still was giving it to you. I mean, first of all, the KELL BROOK fight happened in 2017. Next, Errol Spence beat both guys you're trying to insult, Shawn Porter and KELL BROOK, before you beat him. So this is what I'm talking about. Terence Crawford, the more he talks and tries to ration his points, the worse it looks, because it does not make sense. And stay tuned to the end of the video. I got another one. Hear me and hear me clearly. How are you going to say your resume is better? You've done more than Errol Spence. Try to roast Errol Spence for fighting Shawn Porter and KELL BROOK, 2 guys that you fought 2 or 3 years after he had already beaten him. So you're saying, oh, KELL BROOK beat him already. Oh, but Keith Thurman beat him already. And I thought Ugas beat him. But guess what? He fought Errol Spence when he was a champion and unified. And Terence Crawford fought in a pandemic a non-champion version of Shawn Porter, who was doing a bunch of commentary and telecast and was on a 400+ day layoff. So you can't make fun of Errol because he unified. He did better numbers with his pay-per-view. I was at the fight. It was lit. It was a 16, 17,000 crowd. So he beat you all around. Sales, live gate, the fight was better, you know, they made more money. So he beat you every way. And he fought a champion version where you fought Shawn Porter coming off of Sebastian Formella and a 400+ day layoff, right? And sometimes in boxing, you fight certain guys and then a guy is not the same person, because we don't really know. Shawn Porter, the only person he fought in between Errol Spence and Crawford was Sebastian Formella. And that was just like a stay busy fight in the pandemic. I didn't even know who that was. I never even heard of Sebastian Formella until Shawn Porter picked him, or until, you know, that fight got made. So the moral of what I'm saying is he's doing all this to try to insult and prove he has a better pedigree or resume, and it still doesn't work. You're like, oh, Kell Brook was coming off a Triple G. Lost. That's true. But guess what? Triple G messed up one of his eyes. Errol Spence, being a southpaw, messed up the other eye. Back-to-back fights. And then he said he went and struggled with depression and was going to hang it up. And he was like going through it and drinking alcohol and doing drugs and stuff like that. That's when you fought him. So if you're going to tell the story, you got to tell the full, complete story in its entirety. And the bottom line is Errol Spence beat those guys when they were champions. That's how he unified belts. So you're saying, oh, you ain't really done nothing. You haven't done nothing special. But he actually did do something special, because he fought him when he was a champion and he took their belts. Truthfully trying to argue with me, there is no argument. You can't prove me wrong. It makes no sense if somebody fought a fresher champion version of a fighter and beat them, and then you fought that same guy years later and beat them, then you're not going to get more credit than when the guys were looking on their up and up and they were champions and prideful, and that's the timepiece, right? Like Floyd Mayweather and Zab Judah fighting Carlos Baldomir. Yeah, Canelo fought Baldomir and knocked him out, but he also knocked out a 41-year-old Baldomir. I mean, these are straw man arguments. It's a 40-year-old, 41-year-old Carlos Baldomir. Same thing with Shane Mosley. What are you going to say? Oh, but Shane Mosley rocked Floyd Mayweather, but Floyd Mayweather, you know, went on to win every round, but he had that scary moment in round 2, and Canelo, he didn't almost get knocked out by Shane Mosley. I mean, what are we talking about? These are just like triangle theories where you're not putting any context into it. Canelo 1 was bigger than Shane Mosley. Shane Mosley was also 40, 41 years old by the time Canelo fought him, and Canelo was fresh and young, and it was just a different fight. You know, it was a different fight. It was at a different weight class. Floyd fought him at welterweight. So it's like these weak straw man arguments really don't work in boxing. But Crawford keeps trying to make it work, and it's making it look worse for him. And Terence Crawford keeps trying to pass these things off, and he keeps repeating the same thing like Teddy Ruxpin, but at the end of the day, it's not adding up. So he also said, funny thing is, Errol Spence, you knew the fight wasn't going to be this year. Your butt was on vacation with your family. Why me and my team was trying to make a fight for November when you wasn't even in the gym and it was September. Y'all was just dragging the ish out to blame me. First of all, I know this for a fact to be incorrect. I posted videos about it, and I know people, you know, we'll leave it at that, but I have sources, and I know Errol Spence was training and doing levels of training. And if you don't believe me, you can watch some of the old videos and look at the dates, or you can look at Errol Spence and see the shape he was in when he was at Disneyland. Like, I've seen Errol Spence in his offseason before, and he looked kind of big or looked puffier. You know what I'm saying? He looked fuller, fluffier. You know what I mean? If you look at him before, like when the negotiations were supposed to be going on, he didn't look out of shape. You know, he didn't look out of shape. So again, Crawford's striking out. He's saying all these things, but it's not proving to be true. He's saying that Errol Spence wasn't working. How do you know what he was doing in his personal time? Next, you look at this article came out before the announcement of David Avanesian. In fact, I covered this as well. This happened the day of. It says, growing concern on Spence's side that Crawford's team isn't committed to fight. And the whole article was about how they had revised the draft, which Errol Spence begged Crawford to post because he said it lacked transparency, and he says it was included. Crawford still, as of me recording this video, has not posted the draft. Just think about that. If you had something, if there's this huge rivalry and you had something dirt where you could just post something in ether and completely humiliate the other side by posting and proving outright that they are liars, why wouldn't you post it? Especially from someone like Crawford, who reveals stuff that he probably wasn't supposed to reveal, like Al Heyman's mother being sick. That's a private conversation about a family, illness or whatnot. It wasn't really your right to tell people on an Instagram live that Al Heyman has a sick family member, right? Or Errol Spence uses a fire stick. So you snitched those type of things and revealed those unbeknownst to anybody, because those were personal conversations you had with either Errol or Al Heyman. So it leads me to believe that if Crawford, if he's willing to reveal those types of things, why wouldn't he post the draft if he knew he can prove once and for all that Errol Spence is a lie? And it's been weeks since Errol Spence posted that. And that, like, come on, bro. If you have any piece of information that it would exonerate you, like if I'm being tried for murder and I could show them my surveillance footage of me at work and my punch in, punch out sheet, that would immediately remove me from the possibility of committing this crime because I was at work and I can prove I was at work, and there's coworkers and video surveillance showing that I was at work, and at work was 100 miles from where the crime was committed. So the time frames wouldn't match up. Of course, I'm going to do that to free and clear my name. Again, Terence Crawford hasn't done that. But back to this, there's so many points. But back to my initial point, he keeps saying is, hey, and he said it in multiple interviews. I'm just showing you a portion. Funny thing is, you knew the fight wasn't going to be this year. So he keeps insinuating that they knew the fight wasn't going to happen. But again, let's make this make sense to the boy and the king of boxing talk. He keeps saying that they knew the fight wasn't going to happen and they didn't make a move until they knew I was going in a different direction with David Avanesian. But how is that the case when the article came out before anyone knew about David Avanesian, and it said the growing concern on Spence's side that Crawford's team isn't committed to the fight? So you ghosted PBC. This can be confirmed by Showtime. They said they were blindsided. They had no expectation or no inkling that you were going a different direction. So these two things, these stories aren't making sense from Terence Crawford. He's saying they wanted to send a draft and a contract once they knew that I was moving on to David Avanesian. But this article that you see on the screen came out before we even knew who the David Avanesian direction and opponent on BLK Prime. So the story might make sense if this article did not come out before the David Avanesian, and you could check the timestamps. It was 9:03 a.m. Thursday, October 20th. It's on the screen. You gotta feel me. See, I don't just let someone just say anything and then the story's not adding up. It's like childlike lies. Like when a child breaks the vase and he was playing football in the house and then he tells his mom it was an earthquake. There wasn't no damn earthquake. The earthquake only affected just one household on the block. No one else felt it. The news is not reporting about this massive earthquake, and it only broke a vase. Nothing else is out of place. I mean, come on, like these stories aren't making sense. Again, it might make sense if Terence Crawford announced David Avanesian before this article came out, but he didn't, and I reported on it. And if you guys go back to my channel, you'll find out that this video was made before I was saying anything about the David Avanesian. So Crawford's times don't add up. He's saying they only showed interest and tried to get the deal done once they knew I was moving on, but you ghosted PBC, which led to sources telling Boxing Scene that they were concerned that something was up and you didn't respond to the contract draft, nor did you post it like Errol Spence said, and now you're claiming they knew all along, and then that's when they tried to get things going. But that doesn't make sense because you blindsided them. You sucker punched them. So how could they have known if you weren't clear on your plans with BOK Prime and David Avanesian until that ESPN article came out revealing that you had officially broke off from the negotiations? Again, none of this stuff makes sense. And if you can make it make sense, leave me a comment, and I know you can't. So I know it's going to be some bullshit we unpack. Introducing Super Thanks. Right here on the official Boxingego YouTube. Super Thanks allows you, the viewers, to show a little bit of extra gratitude, which enables me as a full-time content creator to push out the content you need in the world of boxing. Underneath all the videos, you will see a heart with the $sign in it. You can enter any amount that you find suitable as a super thanks. A brand new, interactive, and colorful way to get your comments highlighted and noticed by not only myself, but other people on the YouTube platform. Super thanks, a unique and cool way to show and applaud us full-time content creators. Hopefully you guys enjoy the content. Super thanks. The future is now. The Hibernation 5s by Kenichi Bear. Hybrid gaming and lifestyle headphones. Out of the box, you can connect to any console or PC. Bluetooth ready with a low latency USB adapter, color RGB, and extreme bass mode. The Hibernation 5s adjust to you. Whether you need a gaming, travel, gym, or lifestyle headphones, the Hibernations got you covered. The new Hibernation 5s, link in the description. Customize the way you hear the world. Welcome to the nation. Are you tired of your YouTube videos not getting any views? Well, consider TubeBuddy. I've used TubeBuddy for years to scale up my YouTube channel. Now we're sitting over 200,000 subscribers. TubeBuddy is a browser extension that offers a ton of built-in productivity and time-saving services to take your channel to the next level. Use my link in the description to get started with TubeBuddy and level up your channel faster. We working.